What's going on, guys? I figured I would talk about the physical effects, symptoms, whatever you want to call them, of anxiety. When I started suffering from my severe anxiety, when I got pushed over that edge, this was one thing that I didn't know about. And even though some people told me, and I read a little bit about it on the internet, everything really freaked me out. I think it freaks a lot of people out when I deal with the physical problems of anxiety. And for those of you who do not deal with anxiety, I think this will give you some insight as to what we're kind of dealing with on the inside. Because everybody knows about your racing heart. And the people that don't really suffer with anxiety think that's all it is people are just nervous and their heart's beating fast. But that's not all it is. It'd be nice if that's all it was. But I know when I worked for Dukemans, those are the people who treated me like garbage and really pushed me over the edge with my anxiety when I was working for them. Terrible, terrible people. Screwed us all over multiple times, screwed the town over a few times. They're awful people. Anywho, the one big problem I dealt with that really scared me was the pressure in my head. And that's exactly what it is. It just feels like your head's going to explode. All kinds of pressure. And one of the problems with my head are what scared me the most. And I don't know what way it is with a lot of people, but I know with me, when I would deal with these physical symptoms of anxiety, it would make my anxiety a million times worse. Especially with problems with my head. I mean, every night that I would come home and I had that pressure in my head, I just felt terrible. Just a little bit of stuff before I went in my bedroom, I would write in my journal. And I would have to turn on something on the television and turn it on mute. Just so my mind had something else to focus on. So I wouldn't have panic attacks while I was going to bed. But that pressure in my head just set me over the edge every day. And when you get that pressure, it makes, at least made me worry about having a brain tumor. And it really, really scared me. And if you're suffering from anxiety and you have all these physical problems, physical symptoms, whatever, if you feel you need to go to the doctor, you should go to the doctor. And chances are a lot of it's anxiety related, but you don't know for sure until you have somebody to check it out. But there are all sorts of things that are a byproduct of anxiety that affect you really, really bad physically. One of them is the blurring of the eyes, your vision kicking in and out, as I call it, to where you really can't focus on anything. As hard as you try, your vision's just not right. And you got the pressure in your head. I mean, these things really made me feel like I was having trouble due to a tumor in my head, brain tumor. And then you get to points where you would have a cold. And after your cold's gone, you would have that vision kicking in and out, and you'd have that pressure in your head. Then you think, oh my goodness, maybe I had a sinus infection. That turned into a brain infection. Hypochondriac. But I'm looking at my list again. I apologize. But you get all kinds of problems. And mine always started up here, and it affected my head first, then it'd affect my legs. And it'd make me walk like I'm kind of drunk, wobbly. And I didn't have, that head feeling like you're drunk. But you'd have that wobbly where you can't really walk quite right. And then it'd make my arms and my hands feel funny. Everything. You overanalyze everything that's happening in your body. Your pulse, you can feel your pulse in your hand, you can feel it in your head, you can feel it in your mouth. and you get really, really scared, and you're thinking, oh my God, I have really high blood pressure, my heart's going to beat out of my chest, I'm going to have a heart attack, I'm going to die. And just, your basic motor skills go bad. And I'm talking your hands. And me being a butcher, it scared me, terribly scared me. Because my hands wouldn't work quite right. The knife wouldn't work quite right. I was always so nervous of coming out and cutting my hand with the boning knife and stabbing myself, or cutting my part of my finger off with my big steak knife, my huge knife. I worried with all the physical symptoms this caused me, with my vision and with my head and with my legs and my hands and everything else, all these physical symptoms, that I wouldn't be able to use the bandsaw. If I was using a bandsaw, something would happen and I would cut part of my hand off, part of my finger off. And I think when you look at it as a whole, it's a terrifying thing when you cannot control it. You cannot control what's going on with your body. I think it's what really, really scared me, is the not being in control. And it's a terrible, terrible feeling. When you're going through and nothing of particular interest sets you off, sets your anxiety off, you start having a little bit of an anxiety attack. Not a full-blown panic attack, but your head goes funny, your vision goes funny, and then your hands stop working quite right. You can't really move them that well. You fear you're having a stroke. But you're talking physical symptoms. I mean, you can feel this in your head. The pressure, your vision kicks out, and there's nothing you can do to control that. Your hands don't work quite right. There's nothing you can do to control them. Your legs get wobbly. So for people standing outside looking in, saying, oh, you're just nervous, this, that, and the other, you got to stop thinking about it. Well, that's fine, but these physical things that we deal with, you can't understand, because we're the ones feeling them. You can't know how we're feeling. We can tell you, we're freaking out about this, that, and the other, but we can't explain to you all the physical symptoms that we have. I can't even put in perspective all the stuff. But it affects every part of my body when I'm having anxiety issues, when I get nervous. And I'm a lot better now than I used to be, but I know if I'm calling somebody or doing something and I get a little bit nervous, my vision starts to kick out and my head gets that pressure in it and starts to feel funny. But when things get really severe, you have that big fear, that big realization that you're not in control of what's going on in your body. It's a terrifying feeling. When you deal with that derealization, when it feels like, at least for me, like I was standing 2 feet behind myself. Like I was watching my life in third person rather than first person. Scary, scary feeling. Very scary. And you become a hypochondriac. Like I've been saying, you worry that all these things are wrong. Your leg feels a little bit funny. Your arms feel a little bit funny. You think, oh my goodness, I'm having a stroke. Oh my goodness, I got a tumor. Oh my goodness, I've got something wrong with my spine. I got some sort of disease. And you worry about all these phantom problems. You worry about all these different things that may be wrong. And people can say, well, you got to stop worrying about that. You got to stop going on the internet. You got to stop going on WebMD or the Mayo Clinic website. You got to keep away from Google. But for those that suffer with anxiety, at least for me, when you deal with that derealization, and then you deal with that big realization that you are not in control of what's going on in your body. And when you stand back and you're thinking, oh my God, anxiety is what is causing all of this. Anxiety is what is causing these physical symptoms, these ailments, these things that bother me to no end, things that affect my life in such a major way. and make my life completely miserable, and make it almost impossible to go on and do simple day-to-day tasks such as what other people do. We're going to blame all that on anxiety. It's a scary deal. So as stupid as that sounds, being a hypochondriac actually helped me. Because it took my mind off of anxiety. I still dealt with it, but at least when I could give myself another reason that something was wrong, as nervous as that made me, it helped bring me back into a reality that I could halfway control. It may seem stupid to put it like that, but with what you're dealing with, if you actually give it a name, it helped. It really helped me. Because then I could focus on that and not worry about anxiety messing with me. Not worry about all these problems that anxiety is causing. I could give myself a reason why all this stuff is happening. In the back of my mind, I knew it wasn't true. I knew I wasn't suffering from a brain tumor. I knew I wasn't having a stroke. But I could calm myself down. As nervous as that would make me, thinking I had all this stuff, I could calm myself down with all the anxiety stuff and bring myself into control again, into control of my body. There's lots of things I still can't control. I mean, if I get nervous, that pressure in my head comes back. My vision is the first thing to go bad. I don't like that. It scares me to this day. The way that it affects my legs, if I get really nervous, and the way my anxiety really picks up, that it affects my arms and my hands, or say if I got a chiropractic issue, with my shoulder or my back or ribs or what have you, that make my arm tingle or my leg tingle, then I start to freak out a little bit and my anxiety takes over and all the physical symptoms come back. My vision kicks out and gets blurry and can't focus it back in. I can't think straight, and then I get to where I get a sensory overload, I guess I call it, to where everything hits your mind all at once and your mind kind of shuts down. And you can't focus on anything. You got to take things in little bits at a time rather than one big thing. Everybody can look at all kinds of things throughout the day and you can take everything in at once. And when my anxiety hits and I start dealing with the physical problems because of the anxiety, or the anxiety causes, then my mind gets overloaded with all this stuff. There's too much stuff I got to focus on, so I can't deal with a great deal of information at one time when I'm going through these anxiety issues or when my anxiety is at a high level. I don't know why that is. None of this started until I had my big panic attack when I was working at Dukeman's. The physical symptoms suck. And I think those of you standing on the outside looking in, a friend or a family member of someone that's dealing with anxiety, understand it isn't just about overthinking or overdoing things. Understand that they may be a hypochondriac, but that may help them get back in control. I can't speak for everybody, but I know it helped me. It was hell, but it did help me get back in control of my mind. But you can't sit there and tell people that they're just overthinking, they got to stop doing this, got to stop doing that. Because if it were that easy, it would be that easy. But with all these physical things that anxiety causes, I think that's the scariest part of all this, is the not being in control of all these physical problems. The pressures, your vision, your hands feeling funny, your hands not working quite right, your legs not working right. It isn't just about your heart beating fast. When you feel your pulse all over your body, you freak out. When you feel your pains all over your body, when you feel that, oh my God, I can't use my hands like I normally do, and oh my goodness, my vision, I can't get it kicked in. My legs don't work quite right. I can't really walk that good, or I'm shaking, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's all kinds of physical things anxiety causes, and it freaks a lot of us out. And we don't like to tell other people about it because they don't understand. Or they like to think that they've dealt with anxiety too, when all they think anxiety is being a little bit nervous. For those people that think like that, you need to keep your mouth shut around people that really do suffer, because it makes it a lot worse. Because you don't exactly understand what they're going through. I've dealt with it with people thinking they knew exactly what I was going through, and they just want to argue with you. Just argue and argue and argue like they know exactly what you're going through when they haven't a clue. And it makes it a lot worse for all of us. So I hope that those of you that deal with these physical symptoms, deal with your anxiety problems, again, I hope you guys know that you're not alone. We deal with it. I've dealt with it. I still deal with them. Even though I'm a lot better than I was, I still deal with them. And you're not alone. It's terrifying. Absolutely petrifying. And for those of you that do not deal with anxiety, or watching this to try to get an idea of what somebody else may be going through, I can't speak for everybody as to what they want. But I know what I wanted was a little bit of space. I wanted people to understand that what I'm going through is something that I really can't control, and that I don't want to deal with any more drama or nervousness or getting riled up anymore than I have to or had to. I just want a nice, peaceful atmosphere. And I think that's the one thing. If I could get to where I was in a calm state, just like I did when I finally got on my own. As scared as I was to get on my own, when I finally did it, I was able to calm down more than you can imagine. I was able to get in that, it wasn't really a happy place, but I was able to get away from that stress. So please don't stress those people out. They're dealing with a battle that you can never understand. And that's exactly what it is. It's a battle. They're fighting a battle with their mind every single day. And their mind gets to win, because their mind can affect everything in their body and make them miserable. The spirit can only get you so far. So, keep that in mind. Be supportive, but don't be overbearing. So, I thank you guys for watching.